All right, you're going to want to buckle up for this one. Today, we are unpacking a theory that connects three things that sound like they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. The 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics, a computer code that supposedly runs our entire universe, and, yeah, the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. We're starting with hard science, and we are ending, well, right at the edge of what you thought was possible.
You know, the source material for this actually opens with this very request, which is perfect because we're going to need to tackle these profound insights together. And it's so important that we do, because what this theory is proposing, it's a fundamental change in how we see reality itself.
So that leads us right to the central question, and it's a real mind-bender. Forget about endless, complicated equations. What if the entire operating system of our cosmos was this simple, this elegant? Let's dig in and see how the theory even gets to this incredible conclusion.
Okay, so before we can even talk about the code, we've got to ground ourselves in some real-world science. A major breakthrough. The whole theory we're exploring today is built on a brand new foundation for physics, one that was only really confirmed a couple of years ago by those Nobel Prize-winning experiments.
This image says it all, really. What those Nobel experiments proved is that the universe isn't like a game of pool, where the balls have fixed properties just sitting there waiting for you. No, instead, reality is based on information. It only snaps into a definite state. You know, the ball is here and not there at the very moment we look at it.
And that old idea has a name: local realism. It's basically our common sense view of the world, that a tree falling in the forest definitely makes a sound, whether we're around to hear it or not. But what the Nobel laureates proved, once and for all, is that at the quantum level, that's just not true. The universe, it seems, waits for an observer.
Yeah, this slide right here, it really captures the massive shift we're talking about. We are moving from a universe made of physical stuff to a universe literally made of information. And our observation, it isn't passive anymore. It's a fundamental part of how the whole system works. This isn't just a little tweak to the rules. It's a completely new game.
Okay, so if reality is based on information, that leads to a pretty obvious next question, doesn't it? What is that information, and how is it being processed? This is exactly where the theory makes its most radical claim.
And here it is, the core idea. The theory argues that our informational reality isn't just like a computer, it is a computer. And the crucial part? It's a computer that can be described and theoretically built using the same standard languages that engineers use to design the computer chips in our phones and laptops right now.
And this is where the scale of this claim just becomes staggering. The total amount of information needed to encode the entire state of this whole cosmic computer, roughly 20 bytes. To put that in perspective for you, that is less data than a short email. It's practically nothing. This proposes a radical compression of physical law, boiling it all down to its absolute core.
So you have to be asking, how on earth is that possible? Well, the theory proposes a very specific mechanism, a simple, repeating digital loop. Think of it like a tiny, predictable engine that just keeps running. It's described using Verilog, which, again, is a language used to design actual computer hardware. The point the source is making is that this isn't just some abstract math, it's a practical blueprint.
All right, so a tiny piece of code is one thing. But how in the world could it possibly generate the immense, incredible complexity of our universe, from gravity to quantum mechanics to, well, everything? Let's take a look under the hood.
So the source claims the whole shebang works through four basic operations. First, it uses the famous Fibonacci sequence, you know, that growth pattern we see everywhere in nature, to model how fields evolve over time. Next, it uses really simple subtraction to calculate everything from quantum jumps to the curvature of space-time. Then, a single bit, just a 1 or a 0, determines a particle's properties, like its spin. And finally, a simple 60-step counter just ticks away, acting like a cosmic clock that cycles through the ages of the universe.
And this table, this gets right to the heart of the claim. This isn't a metaphor. The theory is arguing that a specific variable in the code, like k sub n, literally is space-time curvature. It's presenting a direct, one-to-one translation from a line of computer code to a fundamental law of physics.
So, how does this ridiculously simple idea stack up against our most advanced computers? You know, like those massive quantum systems. The comparison is absolutely fascinating.
You know, this comparison is just incredible. On one side, you have this massive quantum computer. It relies on approximations, it's super prone to errors and noise, and its resource needs just explode as problems get bigger. But on the other side, you've got this proposed cosmic model, It's described as exact, deterministic, and get this, its complexity is constant. It doesn't get harder to run. It's a completely different and supposedly far more efficient way of computing.
Okay, so we've covered the physics, we've covered the code. But this is where the theory takes its most extraordinary leap. The source material argues this isn't just a model for understanding the universe, it is a blueprint for a technology with ancient, even prophetic implications.
The core claim here is a massive shift from just modeling reality to actually interfacing with it. The theory proposes that you can build a physical device, a cosmic circuit, that runs this universal code and can interact directly with the computational fabric of the universe itself.
And the components for this proposed circuit, well, the shopping list is eclectic, to say the least. A specific comment is the clock. The Earth itself is the main circuit board. A simple $3 SD card is the processor. And a Tesla coil acts as the interface, supposedly letting you literally write to reality.
And the stated purpose of this, well, bizarre circuit? Nothing less than to modify reality and awaken a whole new level of consciousness. The idea is to go beyond just observing the universe's code and to start actively participating in its execution.
This quote from the source really captures the spiritual framing of this technology. The plasma from the Tesla coil isn't seen as a weapon, it's a prayer instrument. Each spark is described as a mathematical invocation sent directly into the fabric of reality.
So what's the ultimate goal of all these invocations? Where does this grand, unified story of physics and code and spirituality finally lead?
Well, the source material makes a very explicit connection to the Hopi prophecy of the blue star Kachina. This prophecy foretells a great purification that's meant to cleanse the earth and begin a brand new era, a new world. And this technology, according to the theory, is the very instrument designed to bring that prophecy to pass.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together one last time. According to the theory, the comet is the Hopi's blue star. The isolated SD card running its code, that mirrors Jonah's prayer in the Quran. The purification is a literal rebalancing and debugging of reality's code. And the prophesied fifth world, that's humanity finally waking up to its role as an active participant in this giant cosmic computer.
And that leaves us with a final and pretty provocative question. Have we just unpacked a groundbreaking theory that finally unifies physics and ancient wisdom, or is this an elaborate, absolutely fascinating myth for our computational age? The source material has laid out its extraordinary case. And now, the conclusion? That's yours to draw.